Hey hoes, well you got some plants that are hard to propagate. Never to fear, cause Plant Daddy is here. In this video, I'm going to use the Scindapsus Treubii Moonlight because it is notorious for being hard to propagate. First things first, identify the node on your plants, that little nipple that's on the stem. That's where new roots will come from. You absolutely need the node in order to grow a new plant. Identify where it's at, and we are simply going to cut above the node. Now, something to be mindful of when you are making cuttings like this, you want to make sure that you remember which side of the stem is up and which side is down. A simple way to remember this is the part of the stem that was growing out of the plant or coming from the plant is the bottom. The part of the stem that is growing away from the plant is going to be the top. The top is going to be the part where the plant has its growth point. You want to make sure that you remember that, especially if you are going to pot up your propagations the way that I am here. Once you figure out which part is the top and which part is the bottom, I like to cut where my plant has a longer stem below the node so that it kind of anchors that plant into the soil so it's not flapping all around and easily able to fall over as the plant grows. So longer stem below the node, shorter stem above it. Superhero hands. That's why I'm Plant Daddy. Y'all see that? Now let's get directly into the number one cause of these propagations failing on these non-succulent plants. It's going to be a combination of humidity, your substrate. In this case, I'm using fluvial stratum. You can use sphagnum moss, water, whatever it is that you want. But remember, it's going to be all about that humidity and warmth. Those are the things that these plants need to simulate that root growth. As far as humidity, if you are not aware, there are multiple ways that you can raise humidity around the plant, whether that be in a sealed container like I'm using here, prop boxes, Ziploc bags. Simply taking saran wrap and putting it over the top of the cup will create humidity inside of the actual container as long as you have a good amount of heat around it. You can do that however you want to, right down to humidifying your house. If you can get that humidity up above 60%, your results will absolutely improve when it comes to the success of your propagations. Plant Daddy promises. Now, last but not least, when we are using plants that have nodes, we want to make sure that we are putting these into the actual substrate right side up. Now, remember the bottom, the part that was coming from the actual plant, that is going to go down into the actual substrate. So as you see here, I'm pushing it down into the substrate, and then the little nibby nib, the node, that needs to at least touch the substrate. It doesn't have to be completely and totally submerged into the substrate. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. But you do need to make sure it at least makes contact with the substrate because that is where the new growth and the roots are going to emerge when you have the proper environment. So the bottom goes down, the top goes up. The plant is able to grow in the correct direction. Superhero hands one last time. Remember, of course, that's why I'm Plant Daddy. Now, the last thing that you want to make sure that you remember here to finish this out right is make sure that you have your substrate evenly moist because you can't have humidity without moisture and heat. So make sure that it's evenly moist. Last but not least, if you have found value in this content today, the way that you can support me cost your ass absolutely nothing. All you have to do is make sure that you take your fingers and smash down the like button if you liked it, of course, and to subscribe so you can make sure that you never miss a goddamn thing that Plant Daddy comes on here to share with you. Until next time, I will see you on the flip side. Peace.